Alright guys, so today I want to do a discussion video pretty much about why I quit playing Fallout 76. A lot of the reasons in this video will be pretty obvious. It'll be a lot of the same reasons a lot of people out there quit playing the game. But still, I felt like I should at least make a video talking about and discussing why I quit playing the game for me specifically, especially since I've been shitting on the game for the past however many months. I could at least make one video where I go in depth, in detail as to why I personally quit playing the game. So obviously, that being said, this is old gameplay. It's gameplay that I've definitely used before. I don't have the game on my Xbox. It hasn't been on my Xbox since about a month or a little over a month after the release of the game. That's how soon I quit playing the game, because it was bad, man. A lot of different reasons it was bad, mainly performance, but it was boring, dude. It's just, I've played the Fallout games, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, multiple times. 4 I've only played like maybe 2 or 3 times roughly, but 3 New Vegas I've started so many files on and played through so many times. And this game it feels like Fallout, and I enjoyed it at first. When I first started playing it, it seemed kind of fun. But once you kind of get to where it starts getting repetitive, it's just boring, man. Pretty much every single location is the same. You go there, there's enemies. It's probably going to be super mutant or scorched. The lack of actual NPCs, in-game NPCs, I didn't mind it at first. It started to show as you explore the map, man. Once you've explored enough of the map, enough locations, you realize, God damn, man, not having NPCs to get quests from is really hurting this game. It's just so boring, man. It's a more realistic, I'll give you this, it's a more realistic post-apocalyptic world. Because if you're first coming out of the vaults, not too long after some bombs drops, there's not going to be a whole lot of people, if any at all. And that kind of makes sense. This feels post-apocalyptic. The only other people are other vault dwellers. It all makes sense on paper, but for a Fallout game, it just did not feel right. Coming off the heels of Fallout 4, which is already a kind of dumbed-down Fallout game, it definitely has its merits. I love the gunplay. It feels like a shooter game. It feels like Call of Duty, which I think is a plus, because as somebody who plays a lot of shooter games, Fallout 4 felt good to play. But it's still, the lack of skills, the perk chart I did not like, and the lack of repair. The lack of karma, even if karma is not really that impactful on the actual game, just not having karma in a Fallout game felt kind of weird. Fallout 4 is already a dumbed-down Fallout game in a lot of ways. The progression in this game didn't feel that good. You needed to be certain levels to use certain weapons and armors and things you might loot or be able to craft, which is nice. I can appreciate that. That has an RPG aspect to it. But opening perk packs was just boring. It was one of those things, a lot about this game was intriguing at first. When they talked about the perk packs, I was interested. I was like, what? I don't know what the hell this is. You level up, every couple of levels you get a perk pack, open it up, you get a handful of perk cards. It seemed interesting at first, but once you actually play the game, it wasn't. And that's kind of the narrative for this game in general. I've been excited, I talked about it several times on my channel since this game got revealed, and even years prior to this game getting revealed, that I've wanted a multiplayer Fallout. That's what intrigued me the most about this game. But the execution was just not fun. They could have just gave us Fallout 4 multiplayer, and everybody would have been excited. And I mean, that's kind of what this is anyway, because it is an absolute asset flip of Fallout 4. And somehow it ended up being an asset flip of Skyrim as well, because the Scorched Beast had the exact same animations as the dragons from Skyrim, which is very, very shocking and surprising. And that's probably the thing that pissed me off the most about this game was the lack of content, how bare bones the game was, and the fact that it was 100% just a cash grab. Because they put this game out, a brand new Fallout game, mind you, with the biggest world they've ever made for a Fallout game, in 3 years or so. This game came out in about 3 years after the release of Fallout 4, which is insane. They put out a Fallout game in 3 years. It took them 7 years to make Fallout 4, and somehow they managed to put out a multiplayer Fallout game. Bethesda Game Studios' very first multiplayer game as well, in not even half the time it took them to make Fallout 4. If you can't tell that's an asset flip in a rushed project, you're out of your damn mind. Speaking of cash grab, I had a huge issue with the monetization of the game. A lot of the items in the Atomic Shop were overpriced. Simply reskins of your trunk would cost, 500 plus atoms, which equals, $5 or more. People seem to not understand why this is an issue just because you can earn atoms in the game, and that's not how this works, man. Every game that has loot boxes, you can earn loot boxes in game. That's like saying loot boxes aren't an issue for gaming. There's just a lot of things that were insanely overpriced. I think during Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, it was an emote pack or something. It was $15 or more or something for an emote pack. A third of what the game cost. The game was $60. You're paying $15 to $20 roughly for an emote pack. And they weren't even different from the base game emote packs at all. Not to mention, these Christmas items, when they came out, were already on sale as soon as they released, which is scummy as hell, if not borderline illegal, because nobody ever saw them at this supposed full value. They came out, they released in the Atomic Shop brand new, already on sales. And the idea behind this is that people who go to the Atomic Shop and see these items would think that they're only on sale for now, temporarily, and that they're getting some kind of a bargain because they see what the full price used to be, but it was never actually for that price. And if we want to talk about Bethesda being scum, you had all the bad PR stuff that happened like through all of like the end of 2018. It was insane. You had like the canvas bag situation, of course. You had them leaking customers' information, not wanting to give refunds for the game. We don't have to go over everything. If you've been keeping up with the game, you know what some of these are. Most of these are. There was a time where we couldn't go for like a week straight without Bethesda fucking up, doing something else to piss off the community. It was crazy for a while. And in the same realm of terrible PR, this game had terrible marketing, man. We got a decent reveal, I guess, at E3, where we learned a good chunk about the game, and there's complete silence until QuakeCon, which was like a full 2 months later. Like, that whole 2 months, we got nothing from Bethesda. It was like little snippets of interviews here and there from random websites and interviews online, and then Pete Hines replying to people on Twitter. I literally had a segment on my channel for a while. There was just Pete's tweets, because that was literally the only place we could get any information regarding Fallout 76. Like, Bethesda just didn't want to tell us about this game, which kind of shows why once the game came out, with like how terrible the performance was, the lack of content, there wasn't anything to really show us. And we haven't even really talked about the terrible performance of this game in the video, really. Like, the terrible frame drops, the freezing, the stuttering, the T-posing enemies, the terrible AI, the long load screens. There's times where, like, there's invincible enemies, your gun wouldn't register shots or damage to other enemies, you'd be walking around the map and just randomly take damage from absolutely nothing. 100% the worst performing game I've personally ever played, and probably a lot of people out there. It's 100% the worst performing Bethesda game for sure. Like, it's kind of a meme, it's a thing. Bethesda games have bugs and glitches. We expect that from Bethesda Game Studios. But this game far exceeds anything from any of the previous games. Like, people have talked about a lot of bugs and glitches when it comes to Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Skyrim, and honestly, throughout my entire, 10 years or more of playing Bethesda Game Studios games, I haven't really experienced that many. Like, I've experienced some stuff, some freezing, some frame drops, a couple of, like, glitches and stuff, like Fallout 3, bloody mess, you like blow a guy apart, but his body'd still be like kind of standing, stuff like that, or enemies like, getting thrown across the map when you kill them, little things like that, but never anything game breaking when it came to Fallout 3, New Vegas, or Skyrim for me, personally. The performance of the game was 100% the biggest issue for the game, for me personally anyway. It wasn't what got me to stop playing it. I've played buggy games before. Even something as good as Witcher 3 had a very important quest that I could not complete, which is very, very disheartening, but that's still one of my favorite games I've ever played. I can play games that are jumpy, frame drops, glitching, bugs, whatever. I can handle that stuff, but this game was just on another level. The reason I stopped playing Fallout 76 was a culmination of everything I talked about previously in this video, and more. We'd be here forever if we want to sit down and break down every bad thing regarding Fallout 76. This would be a very, very long video. But ultimately, I quit playing this game as a personal choice because I did not agree with it. I did not like the way Bethesda handled the Fallout franchise with this game. It felt like a step backwards for the series. The horrible PR, the terrible marketing, it was obviously the worst game of 2018. That goes without saying. The performance of the game, the lackluster questing, the lack of content, the horrible character progression, we haven't even talked about it in this video, the beta, as they called it, there was actually just a early access that was being sold as a beta. The overpriced monetization of the game, like you already paid, or a lot of us already paid like $60 for the game whenever it was new, and here they are trying to sell us items in the Atomic Shop that are $10 or $15, and it's like, I already gave you my $60, why are things so overpriced? All these things and more culminated in me no longer wanting to support the game because I just did not agree with the way Bethesda was handling it. It was a personal choice of mine, and it was a very tough choice to make because it was going to be a detriment to the channel, and it has been. When I was covering this game, when it was new, my channel was doing great, man. I was gaining tons of subs every single day, every single week. My videos that I put out for Fallout 76 would get 1,000 to 2,000 views within 24 hours. But I couldn't fake interest in the game. I couldn't pretend like I liked it just to gain the subs or the views or whatever. I did not enjoy playing the game. I didn't agree with the game, so I stopped playing it. Unlike some of these other bigger channels, they have no problem, covering all the hatred and all the news and the bad PR and all this other shit surrounding the game. But then the next upload's like, hey, look at this new update coming out for Fallout 76. Those guys are 100% doing this shit just for the money. Because if they don't like the game, why are they still covering it? It's just super obvious to me, at least, that they're in it for one thing and one thing only. It was and wasn't a tough choice to make. Obviously, it is a pretty easy choice simply because I did not want to play the game anymore. But in terms of somebody who wants something out of this channel and wants the channel to grow, like, I knew that no longer covering the game was really going to hurt the growth of the channel, and it has, but I still think it's the best decision. I don't want to talk about or cover a game that I don't want to play, so for that reason, I stopped playing Fallout 76. And there we have it, guys, a more level-headed discussion when it comes to Fallout 76 instead of me being like, game is bad. I wanted to like the game, I really did. In the early stages, I was a huge advocate for the game, but as we got to play it, as time went on, my eyes were open to what it really was. It just wasn't a good game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at @TheDashingDavid, at my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby.